So the VISCO software is an ERP software, and it's designed specifically for importers and distributors or global trading companies. There's two elements to it. There's the back office software, which is what we're looking at right now, runs like on a desktop. And there's the mobile app, which is designed to be used by sales reps or someone in the field. So for today, we're just going to mostly be focusing on the back office version of the software. So if you're using VISCO, you're going to be using it for, it's an ERP software. So you use it for everything. It does not have its own accounting software. So we integrate with different accounting software packages. Vast majority of our customers use QuickBooks, but we also have a dozen or so other accounting systems that we integrate with as well. You can see which accounting systems specifically in the partners area on our website. So when you log in, this is the home page. One of the main features of the homepage is this calendar function. So this gets updated in real time. It shows you, depending on the types of things that you want to see on your dashboard, it shows you like when containers are shipping, when containers are arriving, when sales are expected to ship out. If you send out quotes, there's follow-ups that gets put on your calendar. And you can drill down into any of these events to see more of the details around them. So like here's a container that is arriving on the 8th. If I click into it, I can see specifically what's on that container, what's on that container. I can see documents that have been uploaded, the bill of lading, commercial list, the commercial invoice and the packing list, any estimated costs associated with that container, a history of all the events that have happened in that container. So you can drill down into any of these items to get additional details. And then there's this alerts area, which this is customizable, but the idea here is the system is alerting you to potential problems or things it's trying to bring to your attention. So inventory that's running low, containers that have been sitting at the port that haven't been picked up yet, these kinds of things. So you can set what the criteria is. Like in this case, I'm saying expiring lots. So if we're selling perishable goods, if the expiration date is approaching, the system is going to pull up a list of all the lots that are either have already expired or expiring in the next, say, 90 days. And it's just trying to tell you, hey, these are goods that you might want to sell at a discount to get out of your inventory, that kind of thing. So that's the alert system. In terms of the actual system itself, the navigation is all happening on the left-hand side here. So this is the dashboard we talked about. There are CRM modules. There are videos to each of these modules on their own. So I'm not going to go through them. I'll just kind of give you an overview of what the CRM modules are. So there's this opportunity module where there's tracking, requests for pricing, RFQs that are coming in from customers that they're requesting pricing from you, or samples that you're sending out, or just any communication between yourself and customers, between the company and customers, are all tracked in this opportunities area. Then there's sourcing activities, which is as you're receiving quotes in from suppliers, you have the ability to track those quotes, and you can do analysis on those quotes by figuring out what your actual landed costs are. Once all the costs are considered, there's this tool called the price estimator that allows you to do analysis on those. And then there's actually sending out quotes to customers. And these things can all be linked together as well. So there's just total traceability for all communications with customers and suppliers before an actual order is placed. Which brings us into the orders area. So quotes can turn into orders, or orders can be created on their own. There's sales orders and there's purchase orders. In the case of direct shipments, those two things are linked together as well. So you can automatically create a purchase order from a sales order. And the order documents themselves, the order confirmation and purchase order documents, can be sent out to customers and vendors too, right from the system. The logistics area, there's really two main elements of the logistics area. There's container management, where you're managing shipments coming in, and delivery management, where you're managing deliveries out to customers. I actually am going to spend a little bit of time in here because it's one of the more unique areas of the system. So if we go into the containers area, initially this brings up a list of all the containers that we're tracking in the system. And you can see, when the containers are shipping out, when they're arriving, what purchase orders are on those containers, what suppliers they're coming from. I'm just going to sort this by date because there's something else I want to mention here too. You have real-time tracking. Some of these are going to be tracked in real time, like This one, for example, we can see that this is shipping out. This is a container on the water right now, right? So if I click into this, we'll talk about some of the details that's being tracked about this particular container. So here's a container with this purchase order in it for this product, which is takeout bags, 600 cases of them. We have the total CBM of all products on the container, the total weight, and the total number of pallets. That's all calculated automatically for us. There's general information or sort of logistics details about this container. Some of this is managed manually. You can type things in like supplier's commercial invoice number, or whether or not this container is cleared customs, or we have the ISF information, that kind of thing. But other things are actually going to come in automatically. So if you specify that this container, if you want this tracked automatically, then we're actually grabbing information through a third-party partner that we have, this company called Vision, that's returning the events. So initially, as soon as you set the tracking to yes, we're going to download all the anticipated events and the expected dates of those events for that container. When it's going to ship, when it's going to arrive. We have, in this case, trucking information. There's a feeder vessel, the actual main ocean vessel. So you have all the expected events, where they're expected to happen, whether it's on a truck or a vessel, whatever, and when it's expected to happen. Now, as the actual container status changes, so once it ships or once it arrives, this information gets reflected in the system automatically. So you have the status will change to completed. You have the actual date that that event occurred, and that can also trigger email alerts to come back to users in the system. So you can say, we want, anytime a container status changes, we want our logistics person to get an email. That's fine. The system can be configured that way. You can say, only if something happens late, or only if the expected or anticipated date did not get met, then send us emails. So you're only staying on top of problems. But the other piece is the ETA, the actual estimated arrival date, is also being updated automatically in the system too. So you're getting real-time information back from the carriers in terms of when the containers are actually going to arrive. So that's the events area. There's also documents and images here. So the system will generate documents related to containers, ISF forms for the ISF entry, warehouse arrival notices. So there's a system that creates, when a container arrives, you can send a warehouse arrival notice to the warehouse to let them know it's coming. There's a delivery order. If you're arranging from the trucking, from the port, like the drayage from the port to the warehouse, there's a document for the trucker. But also here you can upload and attach any documentation that you're receiving in from outside sources, right? So if you're receiving in, say, the packing list, or bill of lading, or loading pictures, inspection sheets, anything like that, you can specify what type of document it is, and then just click save. And now you have a little digital library here for all the documents associated with that container, are all in one place. The other thing is, some of our customers will have, if you have like a sourcing agent or an office overseas, you can actually give them access and allow them limited access. So they're just updating, say, shipping information and uploading documents. There's a tool that we call a vendor portal that allows you to give access to vendors or to sourcing agents, so they can just access those pieces and update the shipping information for you. The last thing here I was going to mention here is these container estimates. So if you have an idea of what some of your costs are going to be, some of these things can be calculated automatically. Otherwise, you can manually enter what you expect these costs to be. And then the system will take this and it's going to distribute these estimated costs to all the items that are on that container. And it distributes them proportionally, either based on weight or based on CBM or quantity. So each item is picking up a piece of that cost. And this way, now you're getting actual true landed cost numbers on each item that you're bringing in. Let's look at some reporting around that actually. So in the reports area, there's a tool called Venture Explorer. So this is a way to look at what you have in inventory, but also what you have coming in. So things that you have on the water, just open POs that you might have with factories. And there's lots of different ways you can filter this information. So let's try by product, which is actually a way that this gets used quite often. So I have a product in here for a plywood, American birch, 6mm plywood, right? So I'm saying, show me what my availability of inventory is on this product. So it's going to break it out by lot number or by what we call venture number. So this venture number is made up of the purchase order number. So 8388 is the PO number. This is the second item on that PO. This is the American birch, and it's the first shipment of that PO. So each shipment has its own unique venture number, which means it has its own unique logistics details. It has its own unique costing details. So this is a breakdown of each one of those individually. So in other words, this shipment is sitting in a warehouse. It tells us which warehouse it's in, the container that it came in on, what our shipping dates were. We have what are available quantities. So there's the quantity that the factory shipped us, and then what's available, because you can pre-allocate. Here's a good example. There's 1,000 pieces of this product on this lot, but only 500 are available, which means we pre-sold a portion of those to a customer. So they're kind of spoken for. And then for each one of these shipments, we have the landed cost of each. And that landed cost calculation includes the cost of the product, but also all the other costs that have gone into it. So if we wanted to, say, drill down in here, like this container's on the water, right? So there's 4,000 pieces on this. Our cost is $18.48 per piece. So if we want to figure out where that number is coming from, we drill in and we can say, okay, our latest projected cost is $18.48. Well, that's made up of the price, the FOB price from the PO is $16.20 USD per piece. Plus we have all these expected costs. So we have drayage costs, duty costs, ocean freight costs, customs broker fees. So the system started taking portions of each of these costs and applying them against this specific shipment. So even though 1620 is what we paid the factory, it's once all things are considered, our cost is really 1848 per piece. So that's this Venture Explorer tool. Lots of different ways you can run this, and with any of the reports like this in the system, you can just take the list itself and export it out to Excel. So that little Excel button there allows you to shoot the reports out to Excel. So if you want to manipulate the information, send it to someone, you can do that using the Excel export. As far as inventory goes, there's some pretty good inventory reporting too. So one of the more popular ones is inventory management. This is like an inventory detail, I would say. So again, if we run this by product, I'll search that birch again. And this gives us, I'll just say, give us the results here. So this is going to give us a breakdown, one row per lot of all the available lots in inventory for that product, the supplier that they came from, which warehouse they're in, details about how much is on hand and how much is available, when it was received. We've got the costing details here. If the inventory is in your own warehouse, you can specify bin location, so you can see which bin each specific lot is in. So that's kind of the ability to look at inventory on a per lot basis. There's also inventory planning tools that allow you to make purchasing decisions or forecasting decisions about how much inventory to buy and how much you have available. So I'm going to use this tool in the reporting menu called forecasting, and sure, we'll do the birch again. So I'll say, show me the inventory forecast for this American birch product. And what this does is going to return a list to us of this is all of the inbound shipments or purchase orders that are either open with the factory, like this one's PO issued. You can hover over it and tells you when that PO is going to arrive. This is a container on the water, same idea, hover over it, tells you when it's coming in. And then these are all lots that are actually sitting in inventory. So you can see which warehouse they're sitting in and when they arrived. So in this case, this period shows us our total on-hand inventory right now is 8,800 pieces. That's what we have sitting in the warehouse. Now we have a container coming in May for another 4,000 and another container coming in June. This one didn't even ship yet for 700. So it kind of gives us an idea of what we have coming in over the next coming months. And then down below are our commitments to customers. So this is one row per sales order. We have what customer it's shipping to, their order number, when they're expecting delivery. You can hover over it, tells you when they're expecting delivery. And then the quantities will show up in the period in which that order is expected to be delivered. So for example, if we look at April, Our total outbound for April is minus 5,000. There's 5,000 going out. There's nothing coming in April. So our long short for that period is negative 500, meaning there's 500 more going out than coming in April. But really the key number here is this, which is what will our inventory look like at the end of April? So right now we have 8,800 on hand. At the end of April, we'll have 8,300. At the end of May, we're still at 8,300 because we have some coming in and some coming out, but it evens itself out. In June, it's up. So the idea is you're kind of looking months in advance to get an idea of what the inventory will look like based on things coming in and things going out. So you can make decisions based on that. And there's some additional filters you can apply here. So you could say, when we're looking at each of the columns, we can look at it by month, or we can look at it by week or by quarter. You can say, when I want to view my available inventory, exclude anything that's already pre-sold. So in other words, if it's pre-sold, I don't want to see it as available. So different filtering options you can do on that too. And then lastly, I just wanted to touch on one financial report that gets used quite often. This is called the gross margin detail report. So this is gross margin detail. This is a report. Let's say we want to see it in pieces. And I'm going to run this for this year, for example, 2022. So this gives me the ability to pull up my gross margin either in summary or by transaction over time. And there's different ways we can run this report too. We can say, let me pull it over here. So the filter criterion here is you can say run it by customer, by sales rep, by product, by vendor. So you kind of have some different options there. We can do custom things there too. And then I'm saying, you can say, show me in summary, but I'm saying, I want to see each transaction separately, but then we'll subtotal by product. So the product we were just looking at was this American birch. So for the year, there are 3 orders of American birch, right? So for each one of them, we have the invoice date, the order number. That's the sales rep who sold it. That's the PO that it came from. We could see who bought it. This was a direct shipment. These were shipments out of the warehouse. So you have the warehouse name, the invoice number, product we said, the customer, that's the vendor. And then we have our sales price, total sales on that invoice, our total costs, and then our gross profit in dollars and gross profit as a percentage on that specific invoice. Now, the key here though is this number, this total cost number, that's not just what we paid the factory, remember, that's including all the other costs. So if we scroll out to the right, we have a breakdown of what these costs are, what the drayage was, what the duty was, custom broker fees, ocean freight. So all these things are broken down. So you get a true picture. Like, so if the margin looks off, you can scroll out to the right and figure out why. Maybe we had to air freight something in. So as a result, we took a loss on it, that kind of thing. So you can see on each individual invoice what your margins are. And then in this case, we said run it by product. So now it's grouping by product. So we can see our total gross profit in dollars for this product and as a percentage. And we can take that and compare it to other products and see kind of what our more profitable products are. And as we said, there's different ways you can run that. So you can say, what's our most profitable factory? What's our most profitable sales rep? What's our most profitable customer? You know, and you're getting true, legitimate profit numbers because you have the breakdown of what all those actual costs are. So that's one of the more popular reports. There are other things. For this video, I was trying to just give kind of highlights. I would say if it looks like it's worth looking into further, I would suggest just request a demo. And then we can have a conversation about your specific requirements and walk through the system in more detail.